So when you start to play Path of Exile 2, you were a little bit frustrated with all of the mechanics and systems that you don't understand. I was the same. That's why I dig deeper, try to get all of these really good tips for you, and I will share it with you, so you will play more comfortable, more enjoying, and more interesting gameplay, which I didn't have. Shit. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, my name is PLK. This is the channel about all of these multiplayer RPGs, and we're talking about Path of Exile, top 20 tips or ultimate guide for the beginners. Let's go. And don't forget to subscribe, please. You know, my community is growing super fast. I need faster. Stick till the end because it will be a lot of very cool stuff that you will know in this video. And I'll try to make it as short as possible. We're starting with something like all classes in this game can use all weapons, all gems, which are skills, and all of the passive tree skills as well. The only limitation is with your class, your Ascendancy, which is the subclass. For instance, you're choosing Sorceress, and then you can become Stormweaver or Chronomancer. Only the Ascendancy will be with your class. Other stuff you can use whatever you want, and that's super cool in this game. I already saw crazy Ranger classes builds who plays as the mage, but with their Ascendancy. But the really important thing, you can't swap the Ascendancy. So this is the only thing in the game that you choose, and you can't change it. You will need to start a new character. So Ascendancies, you can't swap them. Even in one class, right? Almost all the classes are struggling during the first act or even second act as well, before your build and gear become more powerful. But still, Rangers and Witches are known for more easy gameplay. So, you know, if you want an easy time, just choose these ones. They are more suitable for the beginners, I will say. Now, let's talk about the Armor, Energy Shield, and Evasion. What is that? In this game, you have these three types of the defense for your character. We're not talking about the resistances right now. So, in short, Armor basically reduces damage that you take by the percentage. Energy Shield is just additional HP, which will be rechargeable. So, it takes damage first, and then after a few seconds, without any damage, it recharges. So, mages can, through the passive tree skills, you can make recharge faster and Energy Shield bigger, right? And Evasion is the most controversial one of them because it's the chance to dodge. So Evasion gives you a chance to dodge compared to accuracy of your enemy, like a normal any RPG game, and it also stacks to improve the chance of the dodge. But the calculations are kind of hard, so, you know. But overall, Armor is for the warriors, Evasion for the monks and rangers, and I think mercenaries, and Energy Shield is for the casters. The really important thing that I didn't know, you can reset your instances. What does it mean? When you go to the location, everything that you did in this location is saved on the servers. If you want to restart the location, you come to the entrance and you click Control, and then you click on the entrance, and it will bring up a menu with your saved instances and a current one. Click the new button to reset the instance, and then you reset it. For instance, in Act 3, we have a bug. In the location Apex of Filth, you have a glitched layout, and you can't pass through it. So you go out, you click Control and the left button of the mouse, and you reset your instance. And you know, free to go. Or you want to farm bosses, you can do it as well. The more you know. Right, skill jumps. I personally will strongly recommend you to open and to use all of the skills for your class first. Even if you are following one of the builds, as the meta is changing all the time, and we saw it a few times already in past weeks, it will be really good to understand what skills do you have as this class. Gems are dropping pretty okay right now, so the developers increase the chance of dropping the gems. Wherever you will drop the first gem of this level, others will come, you know. So it's not super hard right now to drop them. And you will have a ton of gems the same level. But my recommendation is try to get all the skills from your class, to check them, to have a feeling how they work, and maybe to, you know, to change the builds to your personal opinion, like to your personal type of the build, which is much more fun, right? And also, you can use skills from other classes as well. It is super fun, like I took Explode Dead Body skill from the Witch as a sorceress, and our Nostalgia by the Necromancer from Diablo 2. And it was super fun to use it, but I still recommend to stay with your class skills and experiment a little bit for fun. Don't go full, you know, don't go nuts to other classes' skills, because it's still kind of misleading and it could ruin your experience. Do it after. do it somewhere in the late game, or just, check other builds. Start with the direction of your own class skills. Now, support gems. It's a vice versa. Go nuts. Experiment. You have build from other YouTubers or something, you follow this build, but you have these support gems, go nuts. Try different passive for your skills. It's super fun and you can get something really, really powerful in the beginning of the game. This is really fun and cool mechanic in Path of Exile 2. For instance, I can make my spell launch 3 times more projectiles or have more charges for the skill. Look at that. It's really cool. Also, to the left bottom, you have a button to show all the support skills. You can use all of them, but different skills can use different gems. And you can see what stats do you need for specific gem. For instance, you need dexterity, strength or intellect for each gem. And you will need 5 points in the attribute to use it. Now, passive tree. I know all these memes, all these videos about people first time opening up their passive tree, and it's like, I know. And it was frustrating for me as well. It looks super confusing and big. But honestly, after 3 acts of the campaign, it kind of become understandable. My personal super easy explanation for you guys. During the campaign, don't afraid to experiment. It's pretty cheap to respect small nodes and doable for the big ones. So, go nuts, try different things, that's the fun of the game. Don't just follow one build and that's all. It's unfun. Mostly it separates attack passives like do more damage or do more damage type or more crit or more speed, or it adds some defenses like more armor, energy shield or evasion. But big nodes could give you some unique, really cool features. Like this tree will give my sorceress chance to explode enemies after the death if they are ignited. Pretty cool thing for the fire mage. Don't you think? So you can experiment and make your build really unique for your playstyle. It's not a real multiplayer game. You're not competing with other players, so make your build fun for yourself. That's really big. Every new level, all loot from all merchants will be updated. Always, please always check the merchants after you level up. Believe me, in this game you can get so good loot just from the merchant. Sometimes it's the best gear that I get through the campaign, like occasional 90% of the spell damage stuff or huge resistant boots. Important. In Path of Exile 2, gear is very important. Even with the full maxed skills and passive tree, with bad gear it will be really hard to progress. So you need to have a really decent gear. So to loot you can clean up the locations or specific bosses in the locations. And you can reset the instances, Unfortunately, your leveling progression will be really slowed after few levels above the location mobs. But gear still will be really valuable. So if you're stuck on some boss, come back to previous locations, farm the bosses, yellow mobs, and get the better loot for yourself. You also can use the gambling merchant for this. But honestly, I save all of my money just to respect the passive tree because I really like to experiment. Actually, you can gamble and sell the loot to the merchant deck and come back with almost the same amount of money, so you can prolong your bad habits with gambling. I guess. Crafting. Crafting is super important here. It's not crafting, it's gambling, but let me explain. You have different materials and you have chance to get good trade from them, but it's basically gambling again. So you buy or find item with the good trade, at least one, and then try to upgrade it to get the additional good trade. And you also can disenchant your loot to get these materials from it, So it's like never-ending circle. The game has trading between players. You need to go to a specific website, official one, and you can trade there. But don't bother before, end game. It's just not worth it, honestly. Now, small but really important tip. If you will press Alt when you're checking the item, you will see T1, T2, T3, and so on. These are tier levels of the traits in the item. So you can at least understand are these traits good or not compared to the others. Now, super important one, resistances. I know that it's not super visible, but resistances are crucially important in this game. And even more crucially important in the end game, mid and end game. If you struggle with boss or location where you are one-shotted and you can't pass through, check what type of the damage they have. like cold or fire, and get the runes with resistance, or at least gear with the resistance for this particular part of the game. You will feel instantly how easy it's to get through with the proper resistances. Like 30% or more will be really good for the mid game. Also regarding the crafting, somewhere in the middle or end of Act 1, you will have a quest to get the blacksmith tool for the NPC. After that, you will unlock Workbench, so you can use it to scrap from items good things like socket runes or other qualities. Do it from the start and collect all of these resources, and you will get enough good resources for the mid and late game, for the better loot, to gamba, and let's try to craft it. And the most important thing for the beginners is interface settings. Interface settings. Look, at least do 3 of these things. Always show the loot, always highlight, because you need to press Alt key to check where is the loot on the ground. This is the game, it's basically the loot pinata game. So you need to see all of the loot on the ground all the time. So highlight, always highlight. Then you need to see your, believe me, you need to see your HP and MP bars. And maybe for the mobs as well, it's much more easier to understand when you're dying, because it's not always, you don't see always your HP, and sometimes you are dying super fast. When you have a bar all the time above your character, it's much more easier to play. And map transparency. Just put the map, if you're playing this game for a long time, you're cleaning the levels, you have all the time map on the center of the screen, right? You can't see anything. So just make map transparency like for 20% or so, and it will be much more easier to play. So one more time, the most important tip for you guys is just to have fun with the game. Don't just follow straight, directly one build and nothing else and just, play to go to the maps. No, have fun with the game, experiment with the game, and it will be much more pleasant experience for yourself. So I hope it was helpful, and I hope you will like the video. Subscribe if you like the video. If you don't like, subscribe anyway, and comment below what do you think I need to change, what I need to improve. I really want to improve my channel for you guys and for the community, and I was happy to see you. I will see you next time. Bye.